December 6, 2020 is the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. This day marks the 31st anniversary of the mass gendered violence that occurred at École Polytech in Montreal, Quebec. What is violence against women? Violence against women can be understood as acts of aggression that are intended to target and harm women on the basis of their gender. Violence is perpetrated against women in different forms, such as intimate partner violence, mass violence, human trafficking, harassment and stalking, female genital mutilations, honor killings, forced and early marriages, elder abuse, family abuse and infanticide, and sexual abuse. Intimate partner violence, or IPV, includes acts of violence by one's intimate partner or ex-partner that causes them physical, sexual, or psychological harm. 30% of women who have been in a relationship report that they have experienced some form of physical and/or sexual violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime. Generally speaking, IPV is the most common form of violence experienced by women, although this differs depending on the demographic. Indigenous women and girls in what is now known as Canada are as likely to be killed by an acquaintance or stranger as they are an intimate partner. The Native Women's Association of Canada documented 153 cases of murder of Indigenous women between 2000 and 2008. These represent approximately 10% of female homicides, despite Indigenous women making up 3% of the female population. Transgender women are 6 times more likely to experience IPV than cisgender women. As well, it was found that 4 in 5 anti-transgender homicides were acted against trans women of color. In the United States, more than 40% of Black women experience physical violence by an intimate partner during their lifetimes, compared with 31.5% of all women. What is the experience of intimate partner violence? Domestic abuse can occur in many different contexts to a wide variety of people. The fact that it often happens in families, a place of trust and love, makes it all the more confusing. Leslie Moore, in her book Crazy Love, explains that violence thrives in silence. She stresses the importance of recognizing early signs of abuse in a relationship, talking about issues openly, and then finding a safe way out. The cycle of violence typically starts with an early phase of seduction and charm, followed by gradual isolation from friends and family members. Then comes the first threat of violence. This stage is followed by a brief honeymoon phase, in which the abuser expresses guilt and remorse, or even denies that the abuse happened at all. The cycle continues with a period of tension, in which the abuse survivor feels like they are walking on eggshells. Why do women stay? Women may think their situation is different or unique. They may think of themselves as the savior of their abuser, the only one who can finally help their partner face their demons and change into a better person. Women may stay as their abuser threatens to kill them, himself, the children, or a household pet. The most dangerous time for a survivor is when she attempts to leave. Some women stay because of being financially dependent on their partner. There are underlying psychological factors that can make the violent survivor feel addicted to their abuser. This includes trauma bonding, an unhealthy connection that contributes to an addicting cycle of pleasure, pain, withdrawal, and craving. Is there a link between personality and perpetration? Narcissistic personality disorder involves a pattern of self-centeredness, lack of empathy, excessive need for admiration, and a grandiose sense of self, which masks their low self-esteem. Narcissists often use destructive coping and defense mechanisms, which can cause pain to their loved ones. It's the defense mechanisms used to protect their vulnerability that can make relationships with narcissists so difficult. People with narcissistic personality disorder are extremely resistant to changing their behavior, even when it's causing them problems, as they tend to direct blame towards others. They're extremely sensitive and have strong reactions to even the slightest criticisms or disagreements, which they view as personal attacks. An example of narcissistic abuse is manipulation, which generally is an indirect influence on someone to behave in a way that furthers the goals of the manipulator. Another example is gaslighting, which involves intentionally making one mistrust their perceptions of reality or believe that they're mentally incompetent. Male narcissists are more likely to put down female partners and make them feel less powerful. By understanding more about narcissistic personality disorder, you can spot these patterns that may be in your life, protect yourself if necessary, and establish healthy boundaries. What are the effects of violence? Some survivors of abuse may be more debilitated by the traumatic experience, and others less so. Nevertheless, survivors of domestic violence are at twice the risk for developing anxiety, mood, and addiction disorders compared to the general public. Similarly, women with pre-existing mental health disorders may be at increased vulnerability for abuse. Each survivor reacts and is affected differently. However, there are some common signs that you can look out for if you suspect that someone you know is being abused. The survivor may become withdrawn, seeing her friends and family less often. She may be anxious, depressed, or on edge around the perpetrator. If the abuse is physical in nature, you may notice injuries, such as bruises. So how can you help? Keep in mind that leaving an abuser is difficult and can sometimes be very dangerous. Leaving may also be limited by factors such as the woman's financial situation and children. Listen to her and support her rather than trying to fix the situation yourself. Many types of resources are available for survivors who decide to seek help, including crisis lines, organizations that can help with safety planning and court proceedings, women's shelters, and there are even organizations that will help find a temporary home for her pet. The conditions surrounding violence against women are being intensified by the COVID-19 pandemic. Individuals are being asked to remain at home, which could be an unsafe environment. As well, there is decreased access to services that provide aid. Today, we mourn the lives taken and reflect upon the misogynistic ideologies that continue to allow gendered violence to flourish, both in Canada and in broader global contexts. For more information on violence against women, or to find resources to help both yourself or others, check out the links in the description.